Hello everyone, it's Open House Thursday. Welcome to Your View. I am Morayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies. YK in the building.
Good morning.
Good morning, YK.
Good morning.
We are twinning today.
Yes, I can see that.
Yes, we are on the Amoteku level.
Yes, so Amoteku forever.
I didn't get the memo.
but,
but I sort of compliment you guys because my pants are like same colors as yours, but not.
I want to rant.
What happened, YK?
Coming to work this morning, see traffic. Now, there were Okadas on the express coming. I'm going in this direction, they're coming in this direction. And I drove just a bit further and I saw like 4 or 5 police cars, all of them in the car. So that Okada must have passed them.
I saw Okadas as well.
Do you understand? The Okadas, they passed them and they didn't stop them and put their Okada inside the boot. That was number one. I was very annoyed.
So they're going the opposite on the one way, right?
Yes,
opposite
one way.
Imagine.
Apart from that, they are supposed to not even be on the streets. They are now even flouting it by being, okay, that one passed. I was ranting. I was trying to listen to the news and getting angry. I get to CMD Road. Because, I don't know, maybe the police are stopping cars, so there's heavy traffic going towards, like, Ibadan. So there was traffic on CMD Road. All the cars were coming in the wrong direction, especially downfalls. The wrong, you know, so just causing congestion. Without any consideration for the cars coming in on their right lane.
Yeah.
The one that pained me the most, a police car was facing the wrong direction. A police car, who is supposed to be making... So, you know, I wound and I said, what is this now?
Yeah.
Why? You are the one supposed to maintain law and order. You are the one breaking the... no. So I'm ranting.
Mike, why didn't you take a picture? Sometimes just take a picture. Just forward it to...
I take a picture.
The lack of bad mood.
I'm angry.
I'm driving.
I'm driving.
Yes.
So I didn't even...
It's the frustration of a Nigerian woman anyway. We see, and not a woman, but a Nigerian generally, because we see these things all the time. People facing one way, causing congestion, and the police officers, law enforcement are the ones even aiding and abetting.
I think that was the one that even pained me the most. You know, the downfalls were upsetting me. All the normal cars were upsetting me. When I saw them, I
saw a couple
so
of...
I'm wondering, what's the hope? Where is the hope, Nigeria? Okay, Amoteku forever.
Yes. We need Amoteku.
Amoteku comes.
Maybe that's our new hope. Maybe law enforcement is not helping us out. We should just depend on Amoteku.
So,
how are you doing?
Fine. I saw a few Okadas myself and I was going to come and ask if they've been allowed to start plying our roads again. Yes, because... And as you said, also I saw them, you know, trying to cross the curbs from one lane to the other. And I'm like, okay, this is crazy. Yes, it must be traffic leaving work here all the way to Third Mainland. But then where the road, you know, I don't know this Lagos roads well. Before you get on Third Mainland, Bagada, good. There's just so much traffic on that road. It would be important
fixing the road.
Is that why?
Yeah, there's a damage. They're actually fixing the road. And before the lockdown, so they actually have lots of stones and sand and the trucks there. So they actually fixing. So there's a congestion before you get to Bagada.
Traffic is backed up for hours and hours and hours. And I'm thinking, I think whoever is in charge,
contractor,
yes, we need to look at alternative ways, you know, to get people moving, and especially a lockdown when you also have a curfew in place. People will be stuck in traffic like that, and then you have the police officers coming to enforce this curfew while people are stuck.
It's difficult being a leader in this country, really, because you try to enforce
yes, it's difficult being a leader in this country, but if you are put in that position, you have to make sure you live up to there is no two ways about it. You fight for the position. You fight for the position. You have no excuse. So
true.
You have no excuse. Like if anybody does rubbish at shrine, they're not going to go and arrest. That's why I always tell them it's myself and family that will take responsibility, even if we're not there.
Right.
Do you understand? So that's why. Well, that's where we find ourselves. And
we have to wrap up now, but yes, we just hope the police can help us in that aspect. Let's go on a break. It's Thursday. We have quite a bit to cover on the papers, and then we're going to go back to our gist that we started on Thursday. It wasn't a gist, actually. There was a conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Let's start with the nation. Lagos to admit only severe cases at isolation centers. Sultan counters governors over the Eid al-Fitr prayers. APC PDP issue Ondo Edo polls guidelines. Wike, all workers make 60% of Rivers virus cases. 292 Nigerians returned from Saudi Arabia. Let's start with the Sultan's position here, because we picked this up a few days ago, where Governor of Kano State, Governor Ganduje, was saying that few days in the week, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays will be lockdown will be lifted in those days so that prayers can be carried out. But the Sultan is saying something different. Tell us.
So it's Kano, and then other states have joined. Bauchi, Yobe, Jigawa, Gombe, Borno, and Zamfara are going to be lifting the lockdown so that people can go and pray during the festivities. But the Sultan is saying, and first, the Sultan of Sokoto is also the President General of Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs. So let's just get that office right. So he's saying that these are, unprecedented times. This is not what would normally. These is a different time,
right?
And that you can do your prayers or whatever festivities at home. That you do not that anything that causes personal, communal, that affects you personally or your community by going into, like the mosque or praying during the Eid al-Fitr. Usually, the Ramadan, I just have so much information in my head. So the end of the Ramadan, you go to the mosque, right? It's like you're praying to God for your fasting. But he's saying that during this time, because of the pandemic, you can stay at home to do it, to observe this particular sacrifice. I don't know what's wrong.
And Lagos State has
major headline.
Yeah, said that if you have mild symptoms, stay in your house. They will be doing home treatment for now. They have become very
exhausted their bed spaces.
Yes, the bed space, and so.
My worry, that's a bit contradictory to what the PTF is saying. PTF is saying nobody should be treated at home. So Lagos State is now saying, well, obviously, you've gone into community transmission, and that's the mode they're in right now. And so those with mild symptoms can be managed from home. I don't know how that's going to work, because PTF was insisting that nobody should be treated at home.
I just think that this community transmission is like, you can catch it anywhere. I mean, today when I was collecting my papers, I thought to myself, if any of us have...
That's so true.
You share money, so I think...
So what is most important, YK, is that don't touch your faces. That's why they wear the mask. So you might catch it, your hand might catch it, but as long as you're not touching your face or your mouth. So you can actually, that's why you say, wash your hands.
Quickly, I know most of the hospitals had been cleared so that many people can go for COVID. And it's just in that many people who had serious issues in hospital had to go home, so that if you have these symptoms, you come to the hospital. But now that they are out of beds, it's important that you be responsible enough for yourself to stay at home if you've been diagnosed with
so before we were government, now we have to take responsibility. Let's move on to the punch. We have to move quickly now. Lagos begs doctors as NMA orders indefinite sit at home. 12 stranded Nigerians pay 7 million naira for Côte d'Ivoire charter flight. Ogun human parts dealers beat buyer over the 101 million naira fee. 2 killed as rival court groups clash in Kwara. Oshomole's lawlessness will destroy APC, says Deputy Chairman. Ondo Oyo appoints Amotekun Corps commanders. Okay, let's start with let's switch to major headline. Lagos begging doctors.
Okay, so the Nigerian Medical Association, first of all, they are upset that on Tuesday, a lot of journalists, as we had already discussed, and also essential workers like medical workers, were arrested by police. But when we spoke to the PPRO of police yesterday, Mr. Frank Mba, he said that it's been rescinded, so it's been reversed, and essential workers are allowed to move during the times of the curfew. And we also we heard that the governor is going to be meeting with the medical workers, and they're going to come to an agreement.
Doctors not to stay at home.
That's
all, because the police have apologized, and so it's just for the doctors.
12 businessmen.
We want to take about Ogun State.
Human
parts.
Yes, human parts. They wanted to buy a human hand for wealth, and they went to the thing. They charged them 1 million for the 1 million for the hand. They brought the hand, and then they said they didn't have the 1 million. So they carried the 2 of the people who wanted to buy to the bush, and they beat them very well, beat them senseless. So it was in that beating that alerts were they are now arrested all of them, and the police found out what happened.
What they were trading in.
Really, really sad indeed. Let's move on. We have very little time.
I even see the picture of the 4 of them.
I saw it now. Silly looking people like this. Daily Sun, curfew. Lagos doctors protest police harassment. Khan urges FG to restructure security and relax lockdown. Court hears suit seeking Kalu's release from prison on June 12. EFCC alleges resurgence of blackmail smear campaign against Magu. Abba Ukboland tussle. Supreme Court judge final says High Court. And Amajarai banned from entering Ebonyi State. Okay, let's talk about Kalu's case. Who has that story?
Okay, so he's asking that he be released from prison since the Supreme Court had nullified his conviction on the grounds that the justice had no jurisdiction to deliver that judgment. So he's asking, so we'll hear if he'll be released from prison or not. So
right.
I guess that's how the cookie crumbles.
This is lawyer matter.
Yeah.
I also read that there was a COVID-19, 8 doctors test positive in Zamfara.
Yes, so Zamfara State, they're saying that 10% of the cases in Zamfara State are doctors. And apart from that, so they're getting treatment. And apart from that, they've also self-isolated 30 more doctors. And this is negatively impacting their fight against COVID in that state. So you can imagine the number of doctors who have been self-isolated or taking treatment during this period. Okay. And also, of course, we know that Zamfara is one of the states that is lifting the ban for prayer. So.
Yeah. Okay, let's take a final paper. The Nigerian Tribune, COVID-19, 60 million face extreme poverty, says World Bank. Police intimidation, enemy directs doctors to leave official duty by 4 p.m. More workers of Ibadan firm test positive for COVID-19. APC places 22.5 million naira fee on governorship aspirants in Edo and Ondo. Is this Ibadan company? Governor J. Makinde was really, it's been a concern. Initially, I think they have about 60 cases. Now they said they have about 13 or so more cases in the same company. And it's really scary that they shut down the company, and it's been disinfected right now. And hopefully, and they've actually quarantined all the workers to just to be able to trace. But quite a number of people have been positive from that company. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. From that company. Okay, now, so you want to take a punch. Let's go to that. The 12 stranded Nigerians.
Yeah. So 12
7 million
businessmen in Cote d'Ivoire. They're Nigerians. They're desperate to come back home, but our government cannot pay for their transport back home. So they put up 7 million naira and for a chartered flight, and they're just waiting for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, to give them the ticket.
There was a story I also was interested in. WHO, they're marveled that West Africa only has 24,000 cases, when they projected us to have about 1.2 cases by now. They're wondering 1.2 million cases by now, and they're wondering what happened and exactly how we've been able to handle it. And we say, so they're different. So they're obviously also applauding the governors and the president, how they've handled the cases so far in Africa. Yeah. And also, there's another part of the papers that was saying that they're projecting about 60 million to enter poverty line after the COVID-19 because of the economic hardship this has caused for many developing countries. And they're also trying to see, they're going to share a bit, give a bit of support, financial support, and also debt relief to help these economies to recover from COVID-19. I just hope that when they get these things, that these governments actually use it for what they're supposed to use it for. They're going to give us lots of relief just to help our economies. But hey,
let them give us. When they give us, they should announce that they've given us, and then we know what to do.
People can then follow up.
Yeah, we can follow up.
I think we have a few naval officers who tested positive for COVID-19.
One even died over the weekend.
Yes, but they said that most of them are those that work in the medical area, so they are, of course, in contact with people who are ill. And I think there's one female soldier, that's in Lagos State, one female soldier too who has it. And the police commissioner also said we to have 2 police officers who have tested positive for COVID-19.
Even the commissioner for health is really worried about Lagos, and he said, okay, if you have, just stay in your house. Yes. We'll come and meet you there.
Yes. Right. So
and
I have to round up, but I have to mention that Governor Wike has been shouting and we've been criticizing him. But the man says 60% of the cases he has in his state are those oil workers coming back from the rigs. That's why he's insisting that once you enter his state, be quarantined, be isolated, do your testing and be sure first. Now, because right now, he's pretty upset with saying that all the oil workers, all of them must be.
We should find a way to work together.
I feel his pain. I actually feel his pain. It's just that I didn't agree with the demolishing the...
Yeah, that was a different
but
yes.
I actually, because when he talks passionately about it. And you can't, he doesn't want it in his state.
It's a Niger Delta thing. They're very passionate when they speak.
You can't blame him. I wouldn't blame him.
Right. Okay, that's all we can take on Front Page Review. It's Thursday. We continue our discussion on that lady that drowned her baby because it's an important conversation to have. And let me tell you what, there's one part of the medical, the mental health part. There's another angle of society pressure, and there's another part of she's just a plain old murderer. You know, why are we coloring it with different connotations? Let's say what it is. So there are different parts of this. Let's have a conversation because the truth is a lot of young girls are in this situation right now, and we must be able to redefine how we see a situation where you get pregnant at the time you don't want to get pregnant. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So on Tuesday, we started a discussion about the lady who drowned her baby because, in her words, she made her miss her university education. We know this action is not justifiable, but today we want to look at it from different angles. Could it have been postpartum depression? Could it have been based on society, pressure? Or is she just a plain old murderer? Now, we're not judge and jury in this case. We're just trying to raise all the issues for conversation. We'll be joined later on by consultant psychiatrist, Dr. Oluseun Peter Ogunnubi in a moment. But first, I'd like to just let us lay the foundation again. So this woman drowned a 1 year, 6-month-old baby, almost 2-year-old baby. She's 22 years old. Her name is Fumilayo Adisa, I believe, and she's currently in custody. And she reported herself to the police after the act was done. And according to her, this baby prevented her from doing quite a few things she wanted to do, like go to college, you know, the societal stigma and all that would have affected her. So we started the conversation. I'd like us to say a few things before we bring in the doctor to hear his own thoughts. Mariam, want to start?
Okay. Yeah. So at first, when we first talked about it, we assumed that she could only be, you know, not all there because no human should do something like that. Right. And it was really about her demeanor when she was talking. She just seemed really removed from the situation. And, you know, a lot of people say, oh, this is just a cold-blooded murderer. But a cold-blooded murderer, in my own opinion, I feel we want to hide it. But she didn't seem like she wanted to hide it. Like, this is what I've done, and I'm waiting for whatever the consequences of my actions are. And, you know, she discussed killing her child like she was talking about soaking her clothes in water. So for me, that's why I feel she's not all together. But also I recognize that we have this societal way of viewing and judging things. And people are afraid to make mistakes. And we sort of have it in our psyche, Nigerians, that when you make a mistake, hide it. Because, you know, like, you're better, you're a good person if all your mistakes are hidden. Not that you don't make mistakes, just hide it very well. If you are caught, then you're a bad person. But if you hide it, then... So those are the things I feel that we should
So that's the
look
society
at.
part of it. And I think something we have to talk about. Okay, your initial thoughts on this before we bring in our doctor.
Well, I said my thoughts the last time. I thought that she was a basket case. I read in the Punch this morning where, because I couldn't bring myself to watch the video. I couldn't finish watching the video. It was just too horrific for me because I have grandchildren. I have a daughter, you know, and she said the baby was gasping for air and she pushed her further, you know. How can you say that? How can you do that?
Description.
You know, she even gave description. So for her, and then she went by herself. Nobody sent her a message to the police to go and report herself. Well, yes, I've just killed my daughter. That, to me, does not
add up.
Yeah, I can't imagine her being normal.
Right. So, I know the prisoners' advocacy group are trying to get her psychiatric help right now because they're also suspecting she has that postpartum. But let me bring in a consultant psychiatrist, Dr. Oluseun Peter Ogunnubi. Good morning, sir. Are you there?
Yeah, Maria, good morning.
Good to have you on the show today.
I'd like to ask you a question.
Yes, so Waike would like to start with the first question. Go ahead, Waike.
I was talking to someone yesterday who said that postpartum depression cannot last that long. She said postpartum depression is only at the beginning of after delivery, and that she had been the baby was 21 months. There's no way she could have postpartum depression. So I would like you to confirm or
not confirm.
Or not confirm. I'm trying to think of the Yoruba.
Thank you so much. In medicine, we always say never say never.
Right.
And even though we have classification systems in mental health and psychiatry that talks about 3 weeks after birth to up to 18 months. However, you are still going to have some, it is possible to have some cases where it can extend beyond 18 months, at least to 2 years. I have seen a case of postpartum depression of more than 18 months, but not up to 24 months. So, but for the sake of classification, we normally have the normalcy. But don't forget that it's a Gaussian curve. Some in rare cases. So one cannot, because of that, rule out postpartum depression.
Thank you for the clarity.
Yes. People have said that just by looking at the video, you cannot say about her it must be an illness. That just by looking at her, we're not allowed to give her, like a medical condition. That what she is just a cold-blooded murderer. So, but as a medical person looking at her, even without sitting down with her and doing the evaluation, what do you think?
Well, the truth is that as a psychiatrist and at the same time a mental health advocate, I have to sit on the fence and look at it both inside and outside. As a mental health advocate, it is natural for me to just say, oh, this is likely going to be PPD, postpartum depression, or whatever. I also, as a psychiatrist, that always preach that we must never medicalize social issues. At the end of the day, we stand a risk as a society, for people to do things, commit heinous crime, and then they hide under insanity plea and say they are not feeling fine or they were not normal. And therefore, we stand at risk. Anybody tomorrow can just do this and then go to turn himself or herself up and say that, oh, I was mad at that time.
Right.
So it is important for me. So when I read that story about the car, I have to say in my mind, the most important thing is for me to assess her and do psychological autopsy. I am interested in understanding her mental state as at the time she committed the crime. I'm interested in getting history of people around her, whether she has shown features of depression, like withdrawal to self, weakness, has she expressed suicidality herself, has there been reduced concentration and memory, has she shown inability to take care of the baby? What are the things to understand that, oh, this is not a premeditated action. But as a psychiatrist, when you look at it, it is easy for you to see flat affect, unconcerned attitude, the way she was even describing it. And one will be quick to say, this is pure mental illness. But you still cannot, because you must not medicalize social issue without proving that it is indeed a medical condition. So psychological autopsy is needed here. The law should not just criminalize her. The people should not criminalize her. Neither should we just also assume that she was medically ill.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about this postpartum depression. If you don't get cure, if you don't go for psychological analysis and you have postpartum depression, how will it go away? How will it fade away? Does it just disappear on its own, or you just become worse and you become another kind of human being after after 2 years? Do you go back to being your normal self, or you become
just change completely?
A psychotic case?
Yeah, that's the normal. Don't forget, we need to now go back to causes of postpartum depression. I will not bore us by reading out different or several causes, but we'll just talk about emotional causes and then hormonal causes. After delivery, there's a sharp drop in hormones, progesterone, estrogen, and then you have some organs in the body, we call it thyroid gland. All these hormones also reduce. And naturally, this has been found to cause postpartum, or to be one of the causes of postpartum. Also, when you have poor support, you have sleep problems, you have so many things, financial issues and everything, they can also affect. Therefore, if somebody has postpartum depression, and over a time, even though she did not take medication, she was able to use her personality, her coping skills, to overcome some of these perceived difficulties. And also don't forget that after months, like 18 months and thereabouts, your hormones will be regulated back to the normal pre-pregnancy state. And then you may have natural cause of healing. But because of the risk of either suicide to the mother or infanticide, we normally say we must intervene and not wait for the natural cause and social support and environmental change, hormonal balance and everything to be restored. That is why we say once you see this symptoms, quickly go for help, because you start the risk of either killing yourself or harming your baby.
Right. Okay. So also, one of the things I would like to find out is, are there any, should we expect that there should be emotional and mental impact in the way that we handle issues as Nigerians? So I'm talking about the pressure for a young girl to hide her pregnancy or kill her baby because of the judgment you would get from the society or your community. In psychiatry, is there a study on how just the way society is that impacts us mentally and emotionally?
Oh, several studies. Studies have shown the impact of stigma, the impact of unemployment, the impact of rejection. There have been studies to look at psychological emotions of teenage pregnancy. Several of my colleagues have done a lot of work, and that is why Flyer at the time is just bringing up an issue that we should see as Nigerians. That to everything we must understand that there are psycho and social implications, either as a cause or as an effect. So it is important that when we look at things, either crime, either any human behavior, we must always consider the psychological aspect and not just blanket and say, oh, this is a criminal offense, this person is bad, this person is terrible. If we have that humane faith, so people that are going through these issues, it will help us. But unfortunately, what we have in this part of the world is where we just don't see psychological issues as a big deal.
Right.
I would rather show empathy to somebody that has malaria, fever, and cold, and pray and help him or her to the hospital. But when it comes to depression and cold, you hear things like, come on, don't be weak. Get over it. You can be a man. In my time, I used to stand up and I used to be on my toes. The thought get going. Why? Because we cannot measure it.
Right.
The body is not hot and things like that. So we must know that, so some of these things, there are a lot of psychosocial aspects.
Right. Well, we have to wrap up. Let me let you last question.
This last question, because while we are talking about this mental illness, I want to take a cold-blooded murderer. A cold-blooded murderer who, or like these serial killers, who they can kill like 10 people. Then you find their dead bodies inside their basement. And these are cold-blooded murderers. Are they normal?
Well, don't forget that sociopathy, psychopathy, all these things are, when you talk about normalcy, the word normalcy means that the behavior or action of that person is within what is expected in that society, that culture. So when you see a psychopath who kills and he does things without even showing any remorse, then you will be able to know that this is outside the range of what is expected. Every society has its own normalcy. And anything outside it, then we say that this is abnormal. And that person, and that is why psychopathy is a problem. And if this person is actually a psychopath, it's not going to be seen through the death of the son alone. She would have shown some attributes and traits, and these are the things we'll be asking when we are doing psychological autopsy.
Right.
She would have shown the hardened heart and many other things.
So, I mean, I have to let you go, but the truth is, there is a possibility that it was premeditated, that she just came up with this nice defense to be able to plead or prove a psychological or mental issue. So, it's like a trained psychiatrist can actually trace to see if indeed there has been instances where she has shown mental illness over time before we can now prove and say that this situation was based on a mental deficiency. Okay, I think so that at least we know that she can actually be arrested and tried as a criminal wholeheartedly, right?
Yes, and when she found to have psychological issue as at that time, the law will not release her, but will actually send her to a place where she can receive treatment rather than the regular prison.
Right, right. Thank you so much, Dr. Ogunnubi, for joining us this morning. We're going to go on a break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation because we now need to go into the social part of it, the social identity, how the stigmatization, why young people sometimes choose this option instead of abandoning the child. I think that's not a better option. Abandon the child or not even getting pregnant at all in the first place. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
It's really about.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So we've discussed the medical possible angle of what happened. But now it's important that we also address the social circumstances that will make a young lady, 16, 18, 20-year-old, choose to kill a child that she feels is hindering her own dreams and aspirations. It's something we need to talk about because we need, as I said earlier, we need to redefine what this is. People make mistakes, and I love what you said earlier, that do we prefer to hide behind that mistakes? There's only those of us that our mistakes show, that they crucify. But when things happen, just hide it, let nobody see it. And we've had instances where even celebrities, we had Genevieve and Naji, we had Wajeb, they've had babies when they were younger, when they weren't even sure where they were going. And today, we are grateful for them because their children are grown up, doing well, smart, intelligent children, and I'm sure they are thankful that they didn't kill or abandon the child because there's no way a young lady in that situation would not think of that option. It's normal. But
no, it's not normal.
Why it is?
To think of killing your baby.
If
you say she thinks of abortion or but to say it's normal to think of killing your baby.
It's the same thing. Well, the point is that you're having a child out of wedlock, a young girl at that 16, 17 age would think of that option. That, should I kill it? Should I have the child? Can I suffocate? It would happen. That's normal. It's now having to help them choose the right option that we must do this morning, I think. But if you think it's not normal, then that's...
No, I disagree that it is normal to kill a baby.
No, nobody's saying it's normal. I'm saying
a thought would...
Even the
thought of it.
It's that you have psychosis.
No,
once you think of killing
you're already
your baby.
judging.
No, it's not normal.
Well,
it's just like we're calling this corona this thing, the new normal. It's not normal, it's abnormal. It's abnormal. I can't accept that it is normal. Something is wrong.
Yeah.
Once that thought enters your head, something is wrong.
Okay, I have a call. Let me take a call. Good morning, James. Are you there? From Los Angeles.
Hello, James.
Hi.
James.
How you doing? How is LA this morning?
I'm fine, thank you. You see,
How is
my opinion about this lady is that it can be subjected to a lot of interpretations.
Right.
criminal expert criminology, they will give you an analysis and they will give you their own verdict. Lawyers will say their own.
Yeah.
Medical experts will say their own. You may never be able to arrive at the truth eventually, or what exactly transpired in this girl's heart. But what indeed the society to pay attention to, especially young ladies who find themselves in this kind of situation, there are actually times when a young girl will be in that situation and will be able to cater for the baby. The truth is there is no family support. There is no money. There is no hope anywhere. The option left for you is not murder. Leave this child alone. You can put up a child for adoption. You can even walk away. Abandon the child. Somebody is going to find the child and raise the child. But the moment you extinguish the child's life, you terminate every possibility of the child having a life.
Thank you so much, James.
See, I am of the opinion that there is what I call the grace of anything can happen. I've actually found a girl who was abandoned at birth. Somebody else picked up this abandoned child, raised it to an extent, somebody else took over from there, and eventually graduated from Babcock University. She's happily married today with children. She lives in Parkview. Do you understand? So you don't need to murder anybody. You can just give the child to somebody else and walk away. That's my take. Thank you, Morayo, Yeni, and Miriam.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, guys. I enjoy watching your show all the time.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so, you know, one thing with our society is it's not very robust when it comes to giving support to teenagers who have made mistakes. So in other countries, you hear of places that they can go from the moment they get pregnant or from the moment they are thinking about having sexual relationships. There are counselors that teenagers can go to and speak with. When they make that mistake of, you know, of premarital sex and premarital pregnancy, they have a place that they can go to and they get information and they get help. They're able to go to the hospital, get insurance for the child when that child is born. Provision is made for you to continue your schooling if that's what you want, or have a job so that you're also able to care for your child. But in our own society, you are dependent on your family. And then we know we come from different types of families. Sometimes you may not even have anybody, like a parent or a sister that's strong enough to help carry this problem. Sometimes you're on your own.
Interestingly, when we talk about this subject, somebody called me. In fact, thanks, you mentioned that somebody called me recently, 2 days ago, that she has 3 orphans that she's taking care of. Her family died, and they didn't want to abandon these 3 children, and now they're taking care. So they are now their own resources is being thinned out right now because they're struggling, because they have their own children too. So we don't have that system in our country to support these orphans. So at the time, we still depend on this family that already have very meager funds. Let me take this call from Hassan. Hassan, are you there?
Good morning, all of you.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Please, what happened to this girl is a serious matter. It's a criminal offense for somebody to take one's life. And we always take emotion to the temple of justice. And this amount to, even the discussion we are making now, amount to subjudice, in the sense that it's something under the consideration of law now. The law is going to take care of that by calling psychiatric doctors, calling whosoever. That is where the essence of exceptions in law will come handy. Good morning. Thank you.
Thank you. So we're leaving the issue. We're now focusing now on society. We're not talking about Adisa anymore. We're focusing now on how young ladies who find themselves in this situation, and even young men find themselves in what kind of option do they take? What are the options available in our society? Because many of them dump the babies, kill the babies. Now, you might say you're killing the fetus sometimes when you're about the child, but you're still killing a child. It's still murder in some crimes.
You know, I said to you that when I was in university, there were more than 3 or 4 times that nannies, the cleaners, cleaning the toilet, would pick up babies from the toilet with all sorts of feces around the child. These are young girls in university. And of course, they'll have to now go around looking for who the person is. And
would they find the person?
Usually you find the person. And not to color any particular tribe, but you know, there's a way you dress in the North. So for a lot of people, you're able to cover up properly. Pregnancy. Like here in the South, I'm sure if you start to show, but you would cover up a lot. And you found that people like that. And these are people that are afraid to go home. First of all, I'm not meant to be having sex in the first place. Then I am pregnant. My parents would kill me. So I've decided to take this. So we need to create a system where when people make mistakes, because people will make mistakes, we're not advocating for premarital sex, but we're saying, I mean, we have lived long enough to know that it happens and people get pregnant, but we need them to have a place that they can go so they do not take that very criminal act like this girl has done. And then we're talking about something different.
We're going to come back, we'll take some more calls and tweets. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Yes, so we're going to try to wrap up on this, but let me take this call from Kalu. Good morning, are you there?
Good morning, Morayo.
Yes. Thanks for calling.
Somebody's online, Morayo.
Yes, you're live. Go ahead.
Turn your TV volume.
Reduce your TV. Reduce the volume of your TV. I can hear.
Hello, Morayo.
Yes, go ahead. You're live.
Yeah, good morning.
Morning.
Actually, you are very right. And it depends on parents. Parents had a big role to play for this issue. If an issue of that thing that come up with a child, on a girl,
right.
One thing you need to educate the baby, educate the children, that is not the end of the life.
Exactly.
Bring the children to the drawing board. Because initially, I blame some family that always on money. Because my father make a one proverb that after money, there is a family. And money difference and family difference. So when the family are close to the children, at the end of the day, they have such an issues. But when that thing happens, you need to call the girl alive. Tell him that is not the package of the things that you will not take to. Because I had a sister that had an issue. He got married later. Took after the 15, 17 years, he got the children back to States. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. We're here.
So what am I trying to say about it? That family need to play a big role on this issue.
Right. Very correct.
They need to play on this issue.
Thank you very much. Because the truth is that not all of us have that kind of family.
Yeah.
Some people run away from home, and these things happen. So it always depends on the story. Go ahead.
Yeah, let me check this tweet. Baba God second born says, let's blame this mostly on the families sometimes. With me growing up as a guy, my mom would say, you impregnate a girl, that's the end of your education. And the girl will start hawking pure water. But the truth is, she was mentally down from the home. You know, I just wanted to take that tweet, just because a lot of our parents threaten us when we are growing up.
Right.
If you do this, this will happen. Pregnant, so if you get pregnant, what will you do? You will go run. You can't go and tell your mother.
Right.
That's you want to go and
you want to go and get rid of it.
Get rid of it, or secretly have it and then dump it somewhere.
But there were tweets also, YK, the last time that this girl is 22. See,
so
this conversation is in different phases. So if a 16-year-old, a 17-year-old, 18-year-old happens, we understand what their thinking is. But a 22-year-old is an adult.
That's why I think in her case that she may have had an ongoing mental condition even before this time.
Young ladies that are old enough to make a decision. So let's focus. So there's the teenager part, and there are young women who are old enough, who should, maybe they don't have a job, maybe things are hard. Can they find a way to keep the child? Or what? I mean, what do you think?
So that's what we're talking about. Our country, our government, our systems. We need to have proper social services, in our different states. I know Lagos State is doing well, but I do not think it's robust enough to, and all-encompass to accommodate young girls like this. So imagine I'm in university, just started off, or in my 200 level, and this happens to me. You have to get out of hostel and find a way to take care of yourself. So it's either you're looking for rent to get a place beside school, then you also have to take care of the baby, get a job while you're schooling. You would need support. And for some people, your family already, you've been excommunicated. For having that baby, you're done for.
And there are orphanages that accept, I know, heritage homes run by Pastor Ito Egodalu at the time. They take newborn babies. So if you feel that I cannot take care of this child, instead of killing that child, you can go to like an orphanage, like an heritage home. They will take the child from you.
Yeah. So like abroad, you have different options. So they will have the adoption option. So once you have the baby's taken away from you, or if you want to be involved in the adoption process. So those are options available.
There are so many options. There's foster. There's foster. You can have a child. You can't look after the child. I can take the child for you. The government will give me money to look after your child
whilst you're getting
yourself together. So there is the foster option. There is the adoption option. Then there is the home. My mother and my auntie were brought up in a home because my grandmother, their mother, my grandmother was married to a Nigerian, and she got ill and had to leave Nigeria. She had major kidney problems. Right. She got to England and she had to have 3 major kidney operations. And there was no way she could look after the children and
treat herself.
And be in hospital. So she put them in a home where when she was a bit better, she could go and visit them, take them out. So they don't have all glory stories about the home. But the fact is that there was that option for my grandmother. Because she couldn't leave them in Nigeria. So and then when they were old enough, they moved back home with her when she was a bit better.
Right. So those are options that we need, our society needs to begin to provide.
Exactly.
Because if this person in question and other women in that situation know that, okay, there's somewhere I can carry this child to, they won't have that shame. Yes, there's shame, but at least you know that this child can be somewhere kept. Right now, the truth is that the real reason many of them are taking these decisions is the stigmatization. That's the real problem. Societal stigma. You have a child. Yes, it will delay you, no doubt. We have to face it. If you have a child before time, it will delay a lot of things. But it doesn't mean delay is not denial. Eventually, you will get to your dreams, but it will just be delayed.
Yeah. It's important so that people know, young girls know. See, a person that decides to hold off on premarital sex or not have a baby may find life a lot more easier than you who had made the mistake of, maybe having a child before you're married. It would stop your progress. It would delay your progress. So, because the thing is, we need to be able to give, I want young people to know that it's best to wait till you're old enough, emotionally, and mentally, and financially, strong enough to be able to bear whatever consequences of being in a sexual relationship will bring about. Do you understand? So if you find yourself in a place where you now have a child, when you compare yourself to someone who did not do all that, you would see that there's a delay. But it's better to be delayed than to be locked up in prison or being the subject here where we're discussing
Let me take our final
about
call.
The crimes you may have
Justin,
committed.
we'll take a few tweets and we'll round up on this.
Let's take tweets.
Justin, are you there?
Yes, Justin is here.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Monsieur, what's the major problem I noticed in Nigeria is family. Family is everything. So what are the issues we have in Nigeria? It's family. The moment everybody realizes that no matter what is going on in your life, that you have a family that you can always look back to, that will stand by you, there is nothing you can take home. So parents must realize that everybody is not perfect, everybody is not 100%. No matter the case or issue your children bring home, the earlier you're bold enough as a parent to deal with it first.
Thank you so much. Very correct. Now, I'd like us to, again, compartmentalize. So, in Africa, family is everything. Abroad, it's not really about family. But in Africa, family is key. But unfortunately, our families these days are not as empowered. Many of them are not financially or economically empowered to take care of this extra responsibility. So that's why it's important that we have systems in place to support the family. And that's what we have abroad, where there's a system to accommodate. So family is great. But unfortunately, sometimes we put so much burden on this same family. They're taking care of cousins, they're taking care of external in-laws, they're taking care of loved ones. There's so much.
You, me, Mariam, anybody, we are all social security people, all of us.
Yes.
I'm telling you, look at this COVID-19.
True.
Excuse me for calling it COVID-19.
You're not using it.
You're used to it.
I'm used to it. Well,
well, social security, yeah.
That we have realized that you get phone calls. I need money.
Yes,
I need this. Do you know how many phone calls? Do you know how many texts? Do you know how many? That's not aside from your staff. Ordinary people that just think that you're in a better position than them. So we are social security
for others, right?
For others.
Totally agree with you.
Do you understand? So please let me take a few tweets. The thing is just Chesky. Nigerians always play the mental health card whenever they do something stupid. Do people really know what it's like to feel to have anxiety or depression? Someone will have a little midlife crisis and say he or she is depressed and is acting out of depression. Even people with mild schizophrenia still have control over their action. Wow. I had to take that tweet because this, obviously, he has no compassion.
No empathy. Thank you.
You know, it's just clear. It just puts you in your own box. You know, then Don Dramsey says, we need a better support system in Nigeria, really. We need to educate ourselves. We need to do better individually. I'm sure if she had had a good family or friend support system, the crime would have been avoided. We take mental health with so much levity in this country.
Yeah. Right. Bilkis says, and if found guilty, that's for the girl, she should be remanded in a psychiatric institution where she can be helped, not thrown in jail. That will not help her in any way. So now that's another concern. You know, I always worry, first of all, the state of our jail, our prison system. And then I worry if people who have psychological issues are given the proper kind of help that they need when in this home. That's a whole different...
Somebody called us sexist because if this was a guy, we'll say it was a murderer.
That's a good
he just killed a baby. That's what we'll say. We wouldn't even think for a second that, oh, maybe it's a mental problem. Yeah. So do you think that's the situation? That's another angle we've not looked at.
We have not looked at that angle. And let me tell you what I would still think. That is why I asked the psychiatrist, the psychologist, the question, that doctor. Because some people, they will just kill 8 people. Just like that.
Right.
They can't be normal.
Right.
And most of the time, it's men. And I'm thinking, because I'm a human being, I cannot even think of harming you, you know, beating you to the point where blood will come out. I will feel so bad. You know? So there are many realizations walking around the streets.
Yeah, I think it's not being sexist. We have stories of men who have done this, and many people have said they can only be raving mad to do what they have done. There was a story that came out, I think, last year about a father who complained that he could not find his kids. But by the time they found them, they realized he had locked them up in deep freezer and left them there, and then now came out and was shouting like he could not find them. He was the only one at home with those children. We have heard many stories of fathers who just kill their children in order to spite the mother. So there are people that have mental, some sort of mental issue.
So the point is that in that situation, do we raise the mental issues? Because at that time, that kind of father will probably be arrested and accused of murder almost immediately. We wouldn't have considered, yes, we know there's a mental issue, but it won't be on the table as it is on the table for a situation where a young lady kills her baby. So that's the difference people are asking us to also consider. But let me take this call. Thanks for calling. Are you there? Hello? Good morning. Go ahead, please. I can't hear you.
Okay.
Hello?
Augusta?
Just get some tweets ready. I'm not sure. I think it's disconnected. Everybody more tweets.
So what's the difference if, the thing is, when you're caught, this person is not, this particular lady we're talking about, she's not going to be walking the streets of Lagos really because they found out that she has psychological issues. She'll be remanded in like a psychiatric institution, and that is what would happen to a man if he goes through the evaluation. I have never really looked at a person who kills their own children and think that they are normal. I don't think it's possible. The way you would love, you know, you wake up in the morning and just want to grab your children, and someone sees that and wants to destroy it, that person is not normal.
The way she even did it, the child was struggling and you are still drowning. No.
Did you see the bucket that she used?
Me? I know.
I can't see. There was a picture of the blue bucket. That one that has the cover.
That means I didn't even watch it.
The cover.
I can't. I had to stop watching the video halfway. So maybe it means I have some issues.
Well, I have to go on a break, unfortunately. I think we can wrap up on this because I would like to take a few tweets and then
Let me take
another
speaking, a normal human being will dump the baby somewhere and not kill the child. We've seen cases like this. But when a mother decides to murder her baby without feeling remorse, she's definitely not normal. Depression probably started during pregnancy. Dan Matilda, we all have mental issues. They're only triggered by societal, personal and social pressures. I love that tweet because I think it is true. Everybody can snap.
Yeah. Well, Barb says, we appear to put all the burden on the lady, but the guy should also take responsibility.
Totally.
So when we talk about teenage pregnancy, we talk about the girl because she's the one that has the physical evidence of her behavior or the behavior. And the man, the boy, can just go on living his lives. Living his life. Many single parents today will tell you the reason why they're single is not that the man doesn't exist or is not alive. It's just plain denied it and said, I have nothing to do with it. So that's why I think parents. That's why I think parents tell the girl child, especially, they seem to scare the girl child more. Like, if you do this, you know, you're dead and you're on your own. Because the way it happens is really in the end.
I can never forget the conversation I had with my mother when I first my period. I think I was I can't remember, maybe 13. It was April 1st and that year.
Oh, really?
And when I told her, I remember
April Fool's Day.
It was because my stepmother's birthday. I just got home from her birthday, so I saw it and I was scared. My mother called me and. She didn't want to have a conversation with me alone. She now called my aunt, Mrs. Adeshokon, on the next door. She now came over. They sat down together, and they had this conversation. My mother, I can never forget, she said, Mariah, I want to know the men. Their things are like this. Once I don't forget the table. She like watch TV. Stop that. When you just get pregnant, and that's your life. You know, that hand, the way she did that hand,
oh my Lord.
For life, I was running away. That mental trauma I had, but just that hand. Till tomorrow, I still remember it vividly.
Oh, mommy.
So they scare us so much.
Yes.
That when it comes to things of this nature, we hide it.
So how would we do it differently?
So how would
how did you do it differently?
How did I do it differently? You know, let me tell you something. I've never said this to anybody. I'm saying it today. I had my period for about a year before I told my mom. I didn't tell anybody. To me, I was in sin. I didn't tell anybody. So, luckily, I think my mother had me when she was very young. She was 20 when she had me. But by the time I had my daughter, she told my daughter about the birds and the bees. My mother never had that discussion with me.
So it was easier for her grandchild than to tell.
Exactly.
Wow.
And she even relieved me from having to tell. So when I now told my daughter about the birds and bees, she said, Adan has already told me.
Oh, really? Let me do this call from Fumi. Fumi from FCT. Good morning, Fumi.
Hello, good morning.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
And I would like to appreciate you ladies for what you are doing.
Thank
I
you.
go to work late sometimes because I want to watch your program.
Thank
I
you.
hope my boss will not kill me.
I hope not.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay. I am a true life example of having a teenage pregnancy, and that's why I feel compelled to call your program this morning.
Thank you.
I had a daughter when I was 17, just about finishing my secondary school. There is nobody that would not think of that sort of, oh, I need to abort. In my case, I tried severally. But God has destined the child, I believe. It didn't work. And luckily, no harm was done to the child. And today, she's happily married. She's in the U.S. with her husband, and they have a kid. Wow. But there is a role that my family played that helped me to go through all those trying periods. And it was the fact that they helped me financially, they helped me psychologically, societally, they protected me against any kind of attack from people that might want to stigmatize me. They shielded me away from that. So it was a bit easy. So the society, the family has a very big role to play in all this. As I'm speaking to you now, I just hold on to be able to listen to your program. I have an appointment with a lady who is 19, and she's in this very situation. I moved out of the environment I was living to somewhere else, and I needed a house help. Then I saw this lady, I think I liked her, not knowing she had a child, only for me to see her later with a child, and I sent her away. But on the second thought, I remember my background, and I said, come, I will take you and your baby. Come. Then I started taking care of the baby even more than her, because that was the compassion I had for her. So as I'm talking to you now, I bought her, the baby, some things, and I'm just rushing to go and give the food, baby food and cellular and those stuff. So this, what I'm saying is that we as women and as men who impregnate some of these teenagers, we have a role to play to make sure that everything goes on well. Because looking at that girl, I know she was in that stage of depression. And if she doesn't get that help, she might think the same thing. Let us call it spade a spade.
Thank you so much for me.
The trauma is much.
Fantastic.
So as I'm talking to you now, I just called her, okay, meet me up somewhere, because because of this corona, she has not been coming. So I said, okay, meet me up to so place. I bought something for the baby.
Yeah. Thank you very much for me for sharing.
It makes her feel good. So that's just my contribution.
Thank you very much for me for sharing this story too. Because you see, you can never toy with a child's destiny. You don't know where that child is going. Her own child right now is married happily in a different country. The story of the other caller that the abandoned child is now living in Parkview with married. You don't know where God is taking that child. So don't play God by killing the child. I would rather even you hand it over to family. Even if you can run away from the family safe, leave the baby with somebody. They will take care of the child. Because that child, as long as God has allowed that child to live, God will take care of the child himself. It's God's really, it's his own prerogative to see how that child will be cared for. So there are lots of young people in this situation right now, and I'd like to take a few more tweets, YK, while we wrap up on this. But it's important that people know some people don't have family. You don't have this kind of support this lady is talking about. Some people don't have it. Yeah. You're living in a community where you're an orphan, nobody knows you, don't have anything, and then the guy next door rapes you, you have a baby. You're all by yourself.
Or armed robbers.
Armed robbers rape you, and now you have a child. So it's convenient for us to say family support, but this person now doesn't have family support. So that's why we need system help.
And that's why I like this, that you brought this up about you. When they say we are sexist, we have to remember that it is the woman that carries the baby. It's the woman that has all those hormonal challenges and imbalances. So it is not because we're being sexist, it's because it's reality. It is reality. So if armed robbers come and they rape somebody, it's not the armed robber that's going to get pregnant now. No. It's the woman that they raped that's going to get pregnant. Yeah. And she's going to have, now, that woman might have the baby and will hate the baby. Of course. That woman is going to have psychological trauma. No doubt.
That
the baby is going to, she might, that kind of woman might want to go and kill the baby, for instance. So she needs, from the minute she was raped, she needs psychological evaluation, she needs psychological help. She needs to see somebody. From the minute that she was raped. And okay, let me go to tweets. Adeyemo Halimat Toyosi says, I have a neighbor, a young lady who left her husband when her baby was 5 months because she was being abused. I have seen her several times passing aggression on her baby by biting the baby or leaving her to cry without attending to her. I think it's depression. You wanted to take some?
Yes. Justin says, why are we always talking about young girls alone? What about the young boys too? Last week was Boy Child Day and the world kept mute about it compared to the girl child. The young girls don't engage themselves alone in premarital sex. This Bilki says, the huge part of the problem, we live in denial until the worst happens. Many have died attempting abortion and some rendered infertile when they could have chosen to have the child, if not for fear and castigation. Parents need to have these conversations, guardians as well.
Let me take Ifeanyi. Ifeanyi, are you there? Thanks for calling.
You're welcome.
You're live. Go ahead.
I'm concerned with the issue of the lady in question.
Yes.
I want to tell that we should let the blame on families more.
Blame the family.
Because why? We have to take care of the necessary things we're supposed to take care of. Like caring and loving the children and making them our friends. If you make your children friends, they can be able to open up to you when they are in difficulty, when there are things that are not just around them. And our government should also try everything possible to help the citizens. At least let us have a citizen right, at least of belonging. Create one of facilities meant for the citizens to serve. You know, we can have a situation like this, anybody will fall a victim of this.
I can't hear you very clearly. Oh, I'm so sorry, Fanye. We couldn't hear you very clearly.
Ogumola Emmanuel says, I think the law of a father being enforced to pay child support will go a long way in discouraging premarital mistakes like teenage pregnancy.
That's another system.
In fact, that tweet is fantastic because you are not even enforced. You have your child, you can abandon the woman and go away.
Right.
You know? And that a lot of tweets here are just blaming family. And I tend to agree. I tend to agree because if your son is irresponsible enough to impregnate a girl, make him responsible. So next time when he wants to go and share the joy, he will think twice.
Yeah. Let me take this call from Kemi. Kemi from Ogudu, thanks for calling.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. You're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, everyone there. Morning. Actually, I wanted to say something about all this discussion, but good enough, someone just called in, and I think she had my mind already. So I don't want to disturb you people with all this.
Share your story. It's your view. Let it count.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. I guess you didn't want to say how. But we have, as we wrap up, I'd like us to have final thoughts on this because, and at the end of the day, one of the main reasons why we're having this conversation is to help young people out there who are getting, both men and young ladies who are involved in this, to see the options available to them and not take the option of this criminal act, and always see that there are other things you can do to ensure that that child gets the care that it deserves. Let's take a few more tweets before we wrap up.
Okay, I just wanted to say that when it comes to conversations with a child about life, about sex, I think we can start small. We can start from when they're young. And when I say that, I don't mean talk about sex immediately. But my daughter is 5 going on 6. And I don't know if it's just like that with girls, but she seems more aware. You know, she's very curious about body parts.
Right.
And I remember growing up, you're supposed to ignore that you even have that place exists. Like, to even acknowledge that you have that part of your body is already a big problem in the house. So my daughter is able to, I encourage it. I want her to be able to, she comes to me and we talk about it. We talk about how she's supposed to keep it to herself. It's her own personal property, nobody else. So when you have that sort of conversation from when they're young and they're comfortable coming to you, as they get older, along that line, they're still able to talk to you. So I just feel, let's not wait until she turns 18 or you buy her first brand. You're like, let's have this conversation. I have friends that said to me, can you imagine my mother was having a conversation with me about sex? Something I started since.
Let me take this call from Mary. Mary, our last call for this morning. Glory, thanks for calling, Glory.
Thank you.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
I'm live to talk on this deal.
Yes, go ahead. You're live.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning, madam.
Yes, I want to make my own contribution.
Go ahead.
Yeah, when my daughters were growing up, I did tell them that I did not believe in abortion. Okay. At the same time, I don't believe in premarital sex. But at the same time, if they happen to make any mistake, that they should let me know. And what I would do was to take the baby off them, ensure they stay home for 1 year as a sign of punishment, take care of the baby, and at the same time, you know, now, after 1 year, the girl can go back to school. You see, we need mothers and parents, fathers and mothers to support when a child makes a mistake. Anybody can make a mistake. You know? And again, for that girl who killed her child, the worst she would have done was to take that child and maybe dump the child in a church or dump the child in any school. Like I run a school. If she had dumped that child in my school, honestly, I would have taken care of that child. To have killed that child, honestly, makes my heart to bleed. And I want to talk to Yenny. Yeah, I was the Yenny's teacher in New Era Secondary School. So I just want to say hello to her.
Good
afternoon, ma. Good morning, ma.
Yes, how are you?
I'm
Why
fine,
you can
thank
say ma to somebody? She's not like a student. Thank you so much, ma, for calling
Was she a
in.
good person? Was she a good student?
I wonder which teacher it was.
We have to wrap up now. But Waike, I'd like to hear your last thoughts on this bill because, hey, we're here to help others.
Yes, I think it was very sad that the girl killed her child. When, you know, there are so many childless people in Nigeria, not even just
Everywhere.
so many childless people who would have happily taken out that child. So to all the young girls, if you find yourself in that situation, please look for somebody who will look after your child like it's their own. There are a lot of childless ladies out there who will do anything
To have a child.
to have a child. So please don't kill your child. And if you see your sister, brother that has some psychological issues like that,
That's another.
alert people quickly before
Yeah,
something like that happens. That's my view.
Mariam?
Yeah, I think I said mine earlier, which is let's have conversations with our children quickly enough as they are growing up, and also let's not forget the conversation with boys. Boys somehow feel that, you know, they are removed from the consequences of that kind of action, but it's important that the system should do something about child support that would help. Also making a boy child stop school at the same time as a girl child and share responsibility during that. Maybe that will teach us. But I really do pray, advocate for, you know, wait until you are old enough financially, mentally, emotionally to bear the consequences. Because whatever relationship you find yourself, if you're not, everything has a consequence.
Right.
So
yeah, you're right. We have to wait. Wait is definitely the best option. But listen, don't play God in anybody's life. Those children also deserve a chance at life. So you're better off giving them to a church, the mosque, or to NGOs who are accepting lots of motherless babies or accept your child. Don't kill that child. That's all we can take on the show today. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.